Hello everyone. So this is Rahul Boyer. Welcome to my YouTube channel AI with Rahul. So today I'm just going to explain you what are the basic data types that we are going to use in the programming language called Python. As everyone knows, for to initiate to start a new language, everyone must know some of the other basic data types in that particular language. So if you look at the Python, today we're going to cover four basic data types, which are the like building blocks to learn any new language. So if you can see on my screen, I have shared there are four data types that we're gonna take today as a purpose of initiating our discussion. And uh, so the first data type that we're gonna take is integer. Like everybody knows, as the name suggests, integer includes every number. It's a perfect number that we as we call it. That means the numbers which begins with one, and as much as it can go till 256 characters as they explain. So we have the integers. So if you, how do we initialize these integers? So the first thing that you have to understand in any programming language is to create a variable. A variable is some variables are basic uh, building blocks of a programming language. Whatever they are, they store the objects in it. And as in the case of Python, all the objects, all the basic data types are basically part of one or the other class. Here you can see that integer will be also one of the class, and we're gonna store it in a variable. Let's assume that I will initialize it in some variable. I will name it as num, and if I give it as one, point to note it over here is that in here we have created a variable called num, and then we have assigned a value to that number called num. And if I print that number over here, if you can see, right, you can see that this number will adjust. Okay, I will have to first set up my environment over here, maybe Python environment and the recommended one. Okay, so you can see it has printed one. Now if I take the type of this variable called num, you can see it is an integer. So as much as I can see, I can initiate in this way. So integers in Python are most possibly used to store the perfect numbers, like one, two. But the point to note it over here is that we cannot really store the the floats. I mean floats in the sense decimal numbers in the integer case. If I let's take this case. If I initialize another number 3.14, and if I print that number now here, in the type of that number, two, and you can see that I get a class as a float. Okay, so that means we ultimately have another type of variable, another type of data type, for which we're gonna store this as a float. For to store the decimals, we have another data type called float. So ultimately, I'm gonna take this up, and we're gonna just simply take this here to here. As you can see, sorry, I just have put it into the markdown. I just have to delete this one. If I print this one, num two, okay, you can see this one as 3.14. And if I take one more thing, let's take another num three as anything like 1.222. Okay, I need to put it as I need to give it as a decimal number, some sort of decimal number. And if I print the num3, it will give me 1.39. And if I let's assume if I try to check the type of the num3, okay, and if I try to check, you can see it's a float. Okay, so for the purpose of storing the numbers, for purpose of storing the integers, we have the integer as one of the data type. For storing the decimals, we have a float. Let's assume that you have to store now some textual characters into some variables. So we have, let's assume I take I take a name as one of the variable, and if I store it in a variable called Rahul, if I try to print that up, if I print that up, you can see I can able to store it. And if I try to check what is the data type of this variable, you can see it's a string. It's a string data type. That's a ultimately try to please note that we can store all the names, all the alphabets, all the characters in this data type. Even can store point of view, one of the more important thing we have to add over here is that this is thing this name, this character should be in quotations. So if I do this with the help of, let's take this, even if I had to store the numbers, if they're in quotations, they will be considered as strings over here. So let's take this example, num3, okay, and let's assume that 100 is a number. If I try to take the type of this num3, you can see it's a string. So ultimately, anything that's under the quotation, it will be considered as a string. I can even give the passage of something. India is my country. So if I print this one, now you can see that I can get the name of it, and if I print the type of this variable, yeah, I might have there might be a typo, passage, and you can sorry, type of the variable. So you can see it's just class. So yeah, we have covered almost three basic data types in Python. First is integer, where to assign we can store it in a variable, just use for perfect number, that is integers. Then we have floats, which store the decimals number in it. We can ultimately check it with the help of the Python keyword called type. And then we have strings. Strings are basically going to store the characters, then alphabets, then digits, and if we are putting it into some sort of any text, if we are putting it into the quote, that will be also stored in the form of string. Yeah, so that is all, guys. I'll see you in the next lecture. Until then, tada, bye bye. Subscribe my channel, AI with Rahul. See you soon. Bye.